Hey, hi, hello! My name is Fox Arie, and welcome to Fox Stats. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about the movie Fantastic Mr. Fox, a stop motion 2009, well, I'd say fairly experimental, but very fun, quick, witty, and just overall comedical adventure that I watched recently because it just kept popping around me. Friends would talk about it. It appeared in Max, my favorite streaming service, Max. Really stupid name, by the way. Thanks, Discovery. Very cool. Either way, it just kept popping around me everywhere, and I decided, you know what? I'm gonna watch it with a friend, have a good time, and yeah, you know what? It was great. It was splendid and wonderful. So, before I go into the nitty gritty, let me give you a basic synopsis for people that are unfamiliar or haven't watched a movie in a long time, anything like that. Blah 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 blah. So, what the movie is about is we have this fox guy. His name is Mr. Fox. He has a wife. The movie starts 2 years in the past, where the two of them are on a heist, doing a very mischievous, sneaky fox thing, that being trying to steal some chicken, and they got caught. And so Mr. Fox's wife tells him that, hey, we really should stop doing this if we get out alive. And then we get a jump cut to 2 years in the future. Now they're a family, they have a kid, they just moved into a brand new place. However, there are these three big, like, food or liquid, manufacturers really close by to where Mr. Fox's family lives, and he's planning to do another big heist with the help of a companion and etc. And from there, crazy, crazy shenanigans ensue. I'm not going to get too much deeper into specifics of the plot. I'll completely avoid spoilers? No, spoilers for people that are interested. So don't worry, I'm not just about to be like, this is what happened. That's basically the beginning of the movie. And trust me, that's pretty much, like the building blocks. It goes places that I never thought it would go. Not because, oh, like, wow, that was like spectacular. It was fun, it was great, but it was more of like, so much happens in so little time that I just enjoyed the ride. And although it was a little hard to keep up with, but it was entertaining throughout. So, here, let me explain that a little more. The pacing of the movie is quick and fast and witty, I suppose, quite like a fox, in nature. And although it is very much on purpose, it's very much a charm and very what makes the movie stand out and makes it very quirky. It's also like very hard to really like take it all in, because let's say we have this emotional moment, things are still going really fast, and there are very few, if any, moments where they really take the time to soak in whatever just happened. Just things are always happening. So it's the type of movie where you should always expect things to keep moving no matter what. But sometimes it is a little bit to its detriment, because I feel like some moments need just another, just a little bit more, a little bit more time to breathe. Just a slight smidgen for my baby pigeon, time to breathe. Um, Although that definitely is not what the movie does. It's just like, oh, here you go. Let's say emotional moment, and then comedy like 2 seconds after. Now let's move on to the next thing. It's very just quick and fast. And if that's something that you think you can enjoy, more power to you. For me, I enjoy that style, um, to an extent. I thought it was great when it comes to the more comedy, sillier aspects of the movie. When it comes to the more serious stuff, I just wanted to take a breather to absorb it all in. Due to my neurodivergence, sometimes even if something is right in front of me, it's hard for me to process. It just happens sometimes, and I also get distracted quite easily and quite often as well. So this movie did keep my attention. It just kind of left me trying to like figure out what's going on. And I feel like people who were not even neurodivergent neurotypical people even would have a hard time trying to keep track. And we watched this movie mostly in one sitting. It buffered because Max kind of sucks, and I don't know what the hell's going on over there. But besides some buffering here and there, which was like twice, like we didn't like we just kept going and going because that's how I prefer to watch movies unless I like need to take a massive dump in the middle of it, then that's different. And if I'm at home, just I'll pause it, whatever. But I just like to experience media like continuously as much as possible, um, because that's kind of how most of movies or TV shows are designed for it to be like watched in one sitting at a time. I guess not really nowadays, but for a movie made in 2009 for sure. And it was just really hard to keep up with. It's definitely a movie where I think I would get a lot more value out of watching it a second time some years down the line. So then I know the general idea of, oh, I know what happens, but I can more enjoy the nuance that's like baked into it because there is nuance. There is quite a bit of things going on. It's just so much is happening so fast that it's hard to completely appreciate in one watch through. Hell, I considered rewatching it just to kind of prove the point, but I'm not really one to rewatch movies right away either. So I I guess maybe in the future, if I rewatch it, I can consider coming back on here and being like, is it worth it? But at least it is fine and perfectly understandable and perfectly fun and even great. As is, it's just a bit much for me personally. Um, but I still had a good time throughout with all the silly antics and silly animation, which I've gotta say, I love how silly and zany and just absolutely ridiculous some set pieces or some movements are. You'd imagine that stop motion would stop coincidentally. I guess animators is not the good term. I don't know what you would really call someone who works and like make the figurines and set pieces move in stop motion productions. I guess it's still considered animation to an extent. Either way, you'd imagine movements and etc. would be more stiff or be more, just tame. But no, this movie is like we have moments where characters walk super fast for comedic effect or just to get the plot going along faster, or they'll like spin around and not really move. It really feels like a lot of this movie was computer generated, or rather CGI. But I think I'm pretty sure 90% of what's going on here was done by hand, and that's extremely, extremely impressive. It's very wonderful. I mean, I'm sure there's probably a little bit, just a tiny bit of CGI, but you could really tell that almost, if not everything, in Fantastic Mr. Fox is done by hand, and that is extremely appreciative for me. It's just really beautiful and really wonderful to see. So just seeing the movements of the characters like getting speed up really fast, like just in the middle of whatever they're doing, even if it's something simple like walking, it always got a laugh out of me, or at least a smile, or at least a little bit of that air excreting out of my nose. Who doesn't love a good excretion every now and again? As I mentioned earlier, um, characters have depth and they have arcs, and everything kind of falls into place very smoothly, although very fast. I want to reiterate that just for you to really understand how very quick it is. However, it did feel satisfying to an extent. If you could understand what's going on, just despite its quickness, um, it didn't does not the movie does not hold your hand and be like, oh, this character is like this because of this and blah blah. It lays out what these characters and their personalities and their relationships with each other as clear as day, and doesn't really give you a moment to think about it. You kind of see a character and how they interact with the people, or I should say animals around them, and you can just clearly see, oh, they're like this because of this. And it's probably very understandable for most audiences, because and it's great because I don't like it when movies or TV shows or what have you really like tries to hammer in, oh, a character is like this because of this. Now when it comes to explaining in more depth, like having some mystery to why a character is the way they are, some explanations okay, if it's warranted. But when it's over explaining and it's just going on and on, it's like, I get it, this character is blah because of blee blue blah blah blee blee. But thankfully this movie does not do any of that. In fact, it completely avoids that. It just kind of sets it out in a very natural way that doesn't feel like it's explaining to you, the audience. It just kind of is the world and characters living in their world without needing any expedition dumps, because you could understand why characters are the way they are and why they develop and why they change and grow just as it goes along. And I love that. I extremely appreciate that. And it's quite masterful storytelling that I wish to see just more often. The score was really good. I really enjoyed the music, and it really brought a lot of life and personality to a movie that was already very quirky and very just full of life. So that was wonderful. Vocal performances throughout the entire cast, very good, very excellent, and just there wasn't really a line delivery that made me go like ugh in the whole movie. Like it just felt great, and I appreciate that as well. As someone who is a very very amateur voice actor, I am very specific on how I sound and how I try to read lines. So hearing amazing professional vocal performances done just so greatly always makes me very happy. So that's great. Yee! And yeah, bottom line, it's just a fun and great movie that I feel like most people should watch if you're into something a little more experimental. I wouldn't say the movie is all ages necessarily. I have no idea what the age rating for the movie is. I'd say since there are a little bit of heavier themes going on, this is more of a rated ages 10 and up kind of deal. But, if you don't mind your kids, if you're a parent and somehow listening to this, first of all, thank you. But second of all, if you don't mind your kids being exposed to a little bit more mature themes, then yeah, that's perfectly fine. I mean, hey, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just gets a little heavy here and there, but it's not like complete like gore and rage and rah rah rah. No, no, no. I mean, well, actually, there is a little bit of gore, but it's not that bad. It's just a little bit there, a little tingle wingle, a little dee. Despite that, yeah, I'd even say that it might be very fine. Anyways, thank you for listening. I greatly appreciate it a lot. Feel free to share this show around if you want more people to hear my stupid ass opinions. The other support social media thing description, I guess. Just do what you want, man. Just live your life. Be happy. That's all I really care about at the end of the day. But any and all support is always extremely appreciated. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. See you later. Bye bye.